Hey guys, Zen here, and welcome back. Guys, this is huge. FragPunk Season 3 Chapter 2 is here, and this is what we're talking about. Windwalker, the brand new Lancer, the second new Lancer in the same season, and what he does is something we have genuinely never seen before. Tulix, an all-new Shard Clash map, and for me, this is FragPunk's most intricate and complex map, maybe to date. And of course, new Shard cards, like these, and even a way for you to get some free currency just for checking this stuff out. Guys, 2 new maps, over 10 new Shard cards, and 1 epic new Lancer. If you want to know everything about this new chapter drop in FragPunk and the new content, then this is the video for you. Let's get into this. The official FragPunk x Gibson collab. The legendary guitar making brand has teamed up with FragPunk to release the LP Accent custom bundle that includes the extreme Gibson guitar skin for the Breacher, or the hammer option for your melee weapons, a guitar pick sticker, a Gibson Les Paul weapon charm, and a name card, all as part of the bundle. And of course, that kill effects animation is cracked. Now, maybe some of you are just now getting into FragPunk, but during the Shardverse event, they released music-based skins, and when you weapon inspect, they actually brought up like a Guitar Hero style track, and you could actually play along to a song. Probably one of the coolest weapon inspect animations of all time, but here with the Gibson collab, you won't be able to actually play the guitar, but I can't think of a better brand collab for FragPunk and Bad Guitar Studio than the legendary guitar maker themselves. And now, a tour. We have to dive deep into FragPunk's oldest and most mythical Lancer. Let's meet Windwalker.
Alright guys, here in the training base to check out this guy, Windwalker, the newest, oldest, and in my opinion, most aggressive new Lancer here in FragPunk. So let's check out his kit. It starts with blowing in the wind, and for this I'm actually going to go into third person because it's a teleportation, and essentially any enemy that comes into contact with this you'll push and daze, and so it's a great way to be super aggressive and disorient the enemy. If they get too close, you can push them back, and so it's really effective at making the enemy super uncomfortable and kind of punishing them for getting too close to you. And as cool as that is, it's actually not the flashiest of his abilities. His next ability is Blade of Broken Dreams. This is a sword attack, and there's a lot of different ways that you can use it. And so first up, you can just send it out, just the attack as is, and it'll do damage to pretty much anything it comes into contact with. Now the cool thing is that this thing goes through pretty much anything, walls, ceilings, floors, you name it, and it'll damage anything through whatever it passes through. The other thing about it is that you can boomerang it back to you. So once you send it out, hit your damage, you can actually send it back to you. So it's just a good way to keep pressure on the enemy. And then the final thing that you can do with it is charge it up and do a little bit more damage and create a little bit wider of a radius. You can still boomerang it back to you. And yes, it does take a little bit longer to do this, but in my experience, this has been the best way to do it. You get a little bit more radius, it does a little bit more damage. And so I think the trade-off is worth it. And then the final ability is called Gimme Shelter. And this, for all intents and purposes, is a bulletproof wall. And by bulletproof, I mean it is actually only bulletproof. Launchers can still pass through it. I've seen Broker's rocket launcher pass through it. And so really it's about being bulletproof. You cannot shoot through this thing, either you or the enemy, but you can use the sword ability to pass damage through it. So it's a great way to create kind of a one-sided battle with Windwalker, where you throw up this shield, you send out your sword, do some damage, boomerang it back to you, and there's not too much that they can do about it. As you can see, when an enemy is standing in it, they actually take damage over time, so it's not something that they're going to want to push into either. So once this is up, if you're against a Windwalker, I just stand clear. It really is a one-sided battle that most times you're probably not going to be on the better side of. And I also think he's coming out really balanced. I don't see anything here that's super OP, and I think it's going to take some time for people to really master him, but once you do, I think you'll enjoy what he has to offer.
So yeah, guys, overall, I think Windwalker is an ultra-aggressive, kind of tricky Lancer that plays a very one-sided role. He does next to nothing for intel and actually revealing enemies, but if you do come into a battle up against him, he has an advantage in almost every scenario. Again, once his wall goes up, you can't fight him with bullets, and so when the converter is planted, he's great at setting up a defense. If you get too close, he can teleport into you and knock you back while also dazing you, and so you can't really get super pushy with him. And then his sword attack can do damage on its way out or back around and can go through just about anything. Walls, floors, I mean, you just have to stay clear of it. So I think this is FragPunk's most true-to-form attacking lancer. He makes every encounter with him one-sided, and at least here and now, there's not much you can do about it. And I actually think he comes out super balanced. The sword attack doesn't do a ton of damage, and you really have to time and gauge the distance of the teleport ability for it to be effective and to not just get killed immediately. And the wall, it works both ways. Neither you or Windwalker can fire bullets through it. Honestly, I just stay clear of him when this ability is active. So yeah, a super fast, elusive new addition here. And speaking of, we've got a new Shard Clash map, a new ranked battleground. Let's take a look at Tulix.
So guys, welcome to Tulix, the brand new Shard Clash map here in FragPunk. And I thought we'd take a little tour. There's a lot to see, and this is one of the most unique and honestly really complex maps maybe ever in FragPunk. And so as you can see, as we make our way over to B, this is set in a jungle, and it's really lush out here. It has almost this tribal-like aesthetic to it. And really up top here is the only place where you'll find this kind of aesthetic. I'd imagine this is where you'll find a lot of flank routes, a lot of combat will happen down here, but it's really when you head down into A site where things change dramatically. And so as you step down here, you'll notice it's a lot more modern. Things are a lot more close quarters. And so shotguns, SMGs, those kinds of weapons are going to be your friend down here. But what's really interesting is that it has almost an entirely different aesthetic to up top. It's industrial. It's almost like you're in a foundry, like you're in a factory of some kind. And that is a complete contrast to what it is outside. If you're curious, this is the defender spawn point. If you come right out here and take a left, it brings you right to B. And then of course down here brings you to A. That's Tulix. Guys, tell me what you think.
So apparently it hasn't been since Itzamna back in season 2 where we've gotten a new core Shard Clash map. There have been new maps added, but just not for Shard Clash. And so to get one and for it to be just this unique and layered like this, it's just a nice change up in overall map design. And again, maybe the most unique map currently in FragPunk. Now, there is another new map. It's called Cyberdome. It's for some other modes, like a brand new mode called Hot Zone, and it looks pretty good. Now, I'll admit, I haven't spent a ton of time with the other modes. I've just been so hopelessly addicted to Shard Clash, but more content is more content, and these new maps and the new mode are some of the best they've released recently. Next up, we have to speak on the new Shard cards. Now, they added 11 new Shard cards here to Shard Clash, so let's go over them.
All right, so as with every new season and new chapter, there's new Shard cards, and so I wanted to go over them, and these ones in particular are really interesting. So we have two new endpoints cards, attack time and defend time. Round time reduces by how many points you put into them, and the converting time extends by how many points you put into them. So these are really good. Depending on which side of the round you're on, I think they're worth it to grab up, and it'll definitely make a difference in the match. Then Fearless, firing does not consume ammo. So when you disengage, maybe you want to re-attack, re-engage, and your firing does not consume ammo. So a pretty standard card there, one I would probably pick up, especially if I had maybe an LMG or something with a lot of ammo. Sloppy Shot, this is our most expensive new shard card, but enemy bullets that miss you deal 3 damage to the shooter. That's a pretty crazy card. Obviously, it's not going to do a ton against snipers, but if you're up against someone who has potato aim, maybe they're using an LMG or something like that, this is a very potent card. It's going to force really good aim on the enemy, and if they don't have it, then they're going to take damage. Then we have my personal favorite new card art, but Cowardly Mag. It costs 2 shard points. When an enemy is exposed, their magazine size is reduced by 70%. So for me, this is anti-SMG all the way. SMGs don't typically have huge ammo capacities, and so really good card. Really cheap as well, so if it's early in the match, you don't have as many shard points, I think it's worth a pickup. Then we have Reload Protection, again for 2 shard points, gains 70% damage reduction when reloading an empty mag. This is actually a really, really good card. This is gonna come in clutch, I think a lot more often than you might expect. 2 shard points, we have Killer Speed. After a kill, your movement speed is plus 30% for 8 seconds, so pretty standard there. Crossfire, enemies attacked by multiple allies take extra damage. This is good. If you guys play in duos, if you are someone that hangs around your teammates, this card could end up being really, really powerful. I think that this one is one of those for teams and people that like to play in a squad. Great card and pretty cheap again. Then we have Secondary Weapon Expert. When your primary weapon has less than 20% ammo remaining, switch to your secondary weapon. Your secondary weapon's damage then has plus 20% for a short period. Now for me, this is kind of a subtle buff to everything that's not a launcher. Now,
I don't see a ton of Cold Shoulder, which is the secondary automatic, and I don't see a ton of pistols out there. But a card like this will make those a lot more usable. This on the Cold Shoulder in the right situation is really potent. So I like this card quite a bit. Then we have Burst Fire. Fire rate plus 10%, but magazine size down 30%. Now, for me, this is a play for marksman's rifles because obviously the mag size isn't super critical, but the fire rate is. And so if I were somebody who uses a lot of marksman's rifles, I would definitely bring this. I could see a use case for it with LMGs as well because they have such a big magazine size already. Getting that damage buff is nice. So another really solid card. And then lastly here, guys, for 3 shard points, we have Speed Field. Active, creates a large field that accelerates allies and slows down enemies. And so kind of a passive ability to throw out there, just a nice card to have in your pocket. Overall, all of these new shard cards for Shard Clash at least are really good. Nothing too game breaking, nothing that's going to dramatically change the field, but overall, I think they're great new additions. And then lastly here, guys, free currency. If you're just getting started in FragPunk, it's nice to get some free stuff. And they're holding an event that's giving out up to 2,500 FragPunk coins for simply logging in and playing the game. And by the time it's over, you'll get a holiday-themed Lancer skin for Chum. Cheers. And so, guys, this update has been just massive. And again, this is technically a mid-season update. So leave a like on the video and subscribe for even more FragPunk updates and gameplay as it breaks. Thanks for watching. Hey, I'm out.